Everybody. Welcome to the first episode of my podcast. My name is Julian MacKool, and this is MacKool's Takes and Debates. In this episode, I will introduce myself, what this podcast will be talking about, and give out later topics such as what we will talk about in this episode, the NFC and AFC Championship games in football, LeBron potentially going to pass Kareem in all-time points, as well as the state of Marvel with the new Ant-Man and Wasp movie coming out. So stick around, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So in this episode, I will start out by introducing myself. So I already explained in the intro. My name is Julian MacKool. I am from Syracuse. I've been here my whole life. Things more about me. I am a big Buffalo Bills fan. This year was disappointing, but they will make a return next year. I have no doubt in that. Big Syracuse basketball and football fan. Baseball, I like the Mets, and then at NBA, I really like LeBron's been my favorite growing up, so I really root for LeBron. But I guess you can say I'm more of a I guess you can say I am a Laker fan, but not really. I really don't keep up. I mean, I really keep up with LeBron basically, but I just like basketball as a whole. It's my second favorite sport. So that's really it about me. The reason why I'm making this podcast is just to get practice for college and for maybe a future career in it. I'm gonna go into college with a communications program, which will teach you, how to be a broadcaster and like stuff in front of the camera, behind the camera, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so this is good practice. I hope you enjoy me trying to entertain you guys with the topics I will be discussing. And if you liked the topics and stuff that we discussed, leave a comment on what you liked. And if you didn't like it, tell me what I could have done better to entertain you guys, or just to do better and from practicing. So now let's start off with the topic on the NFL. We'll start first with the Niners Eagles game. As a whole, the Niners Eagles game was pretty boring from after the first quarter. I thought the Eagles pretty much dominated them from start to finish. It only got really close with that McCaffrey touchdown, but even then he broke four tackles to get there. So it wasn't even like it was a design play for that to happen. It's just he magically broke a bunch of tackles. But this story I think is more on Brock Purdy and their injury and what they'll do in the future with their quarterback than the Eagles advancing to the Super Bowl for the second time in the last 5-7 years. So more on that. I would say Brock Purdy I think was solid what he was playing, but I still think as the Niners you go back to Trey Lance because you did spend 3 first round picks on him. Did he look rusty in the beginning? Yes, but he did play 2 games. One was in terrible weather in Chicago where he could barely even hold the ball at all, so they're gonna run the ball more likely. And then the second game, he didn't look great, but then again, Josh Allen and other quarterbacks such as Jalen Hurts now too, it takes some time to develop. So I think they should give Trey Lance another go. But if he doesn't work out, then I don't know what the Niners should do from there. Maybe Brock Purdy might be the guy, but I don't think you can pay Jimmy Garoppolo a bunch of money this offseason. So with the Eagles, though, I would say um, if they win another Super Bowl, then with another new head coach, then that just shows the genius of Howie Roseman, as well as the consistency of how their coordinators have been every year. Almost every year, the coordinators seem to be positioned for head coaching jobs. So that's a big reason why they're in this position too. But as well as the mentality of the whole Philadelphia Eagles organization and team, they've always been underdogs and they like to be that. But when they win games and when that underdog mentality goes away, they want they want people to go to them and still consider them the underdog and prove them wrong. Jalen Hurts is probably going to win MVP. I think so, but it's either going to be him or Mahomes, really, for the two. Um, the Eagles have a good run game, good passing attack. They're very balanced, but really, I think what can change the game for them in the Super Bowl coming up against the Chiefs in a couple of weeks will be their D line getting pressure because they've had the most sacks in the league and they're gonna have Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Ndamukong Suh in the middle, and then at the edges you got Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and then Hassan Reddick, who has been playing out of his mind in the playoffs lately. And then in the back end you got Darius Slay, who is a leader in his own right and is a great corner for many years. So I think they'll be able to they'll give a good run in the Super Bowl and they can give the Chiefs a hard time. So now we'll move on to the AFC Championship game with the Chiefs Bengals. The game was good from start to finish. Joe Burrow did seem a little rattled in the beginning because he did get sacked 4 times in the first quarter, which, as a Bills fan, that got me very upset because that just showed how unprepared we were for the game and how we could have executed way better. Because I think our D line as a whole is I think better than the Chiefs, but the Chiefs got pressure on him early, and which made him really uncomfortable. And some of those interceptions were from having that quick instinct of about to get sacked or get hit, so he just threw it. One of them, the corner, mossed over T. Higgins right in front of him. So those little things can change games and make out impacts on the field. So the defense really showed up, I thought. And the offense is concerned, they're going to get probably all 3 of the receivers back for the Super Bowl, but the main guy to look for is Travis Kelce 100% every time because he just works the middle of the field he just does it amazingly how he cuts into the inside and then does outs as well as curl. But whenever you have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, it's basically backyard football, and the way he does it is just electrifying. And he was still playing with a broken foot, and he was still putting up almost 400 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. So still doing that, he's still incredible at what he does. But now him getting healthy, he'll be even better. But that O line's gonna definitely need to test their manhood 100% against the Eagles because the Eagles D line is no joke. Like I said it before, they had the most sacks in the league. So I think the Chiefs, if they come prepared with another defensive game plan like they did for the Bengals, I think they'll probably win. But if the defense can't really hold up with that run game, then I think it'll be a long game for KC because they're gonna probably lose time of possession because of that. So more on the Super Bowl will be in later episodes when we get closer and closer to it. But in the next segment, we'll be talking about the NBA as well as how LeBron will, when he passes Kareem, does it really change anything? As well as an MVP favorites, because can Jokic win a third one? We'll find out. So on this part of the segment, we'll be talking about the NBA. So first topic we'll be talking about is LeBron potentially going to pass Kareem for all-time points. And I think this changes some things. Obviously, this shows that he was a consistent scorer, even though when he considers himself a pass first kind of guy, and he still is gonna pass Kareem all time in points. He was an amazing player. He was an amazing player all around. I'm a big LeBron fan, but I don't think he's the GOAT just because I think Jordan dominated his era a little more. He was the bully, and he always had the best team. LeBron was always either on the second best team or the first best team, but really he was on the second best team for more of his career. But that's not to say that, he still had talent on his team, no doubt about it. But I think this can change some things. You can still debate it, but I still don't think it changes the GOAT debate. I think if LeBron wins one more ring, I think you would have to consider it more. As far as MVP favorites this year, probably I would say Luka, Tatum, and Jokic, but I don't think Jokic can get a third straight MVP just because there's voter fatigue and the NBA just, they won't vote for him 3 times, or like Giannis, they won't vote for him probably again, or Steph, or LeBron's been the biggest victim of voter fatigue because he probably could have had 3 more MVPs, but whoever has the best story, they usually come up with the MVP. But I think Luka has a chance if they get up higher in the seeding, but if not, then probably Tatum will win it if they stay where they are right now. So, in the next topic, we'll be talking about the state of Marvel and what Ant-Man Quantumania will do for the next up and coming Marvel projects, as well as what we can probably see will happen in the movie. So, in the next segment, we'll be talking about Ant-Man Quantumania. Now, this is like many other Ant-Man movies, they lead up to bigger events. First Ant-Man, they talk about the first Ant-Man, it leads up to Civil War, which was a big movie that divided everyone. And then Ant-Man and Wasp led up to more of the quantum realm in Endgame. So in this movie, probably will lead up to bigger things such as Kane and like what he wants and why he's doing what he's doing. As well, we'll see MODOK for the first time in the MCU. But now the question is, who probably somebody's probably gonna die in this movie, and I probably think it might be Michael Douglas' character, which is Hank Pym. So I think this movie can lead up to bigger things in the MCU because the MCU lately hasn't really led up to anything bigger. It's just been more of their own stories, which I find it's okay with that. Like No Way Home's its own story, Doctor Strange is his own story, because it's all going to lead up to something eventually. That's what even the earlier Marvel movies did. Like Captain America led up to like Thor's movie. Thor's movie led up to the Avengers, and then they all combined. So I think Marvel's fine still, but then again, I see people's problems with some of the movies that they find mediocre, or they find too much comedy, or not good CGI, or how they think Disney's doing quantity over quality. So I think MCU's still in a good place. So I think Ant-Man Quantumania will make the MCU a better make it better for years to come on. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be coming out. I probably will come out with another one Thursday, most likely. Um, Again, in the comments, tell me how you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Um, and I will try to improve every podcast as I can. This is the first one, so with that being said, I hope you guys leave a follow, leave a like, share this with family or friends if you find interesting topics, because we'll talk about more topics in the next episode for sure. And with that, I will sign off here, and I hope everybody has a great day, and they accomplish what they wanted to accomplish today. So have a good night, guys.